Hey, everybody. I'm Lisa Campion, and you're tuning into the Miracle of Healing. So glad that you're with us today. If you've been journeying with us for a while, so glad you're back. And if you're new to the show, I'm so glad you're here. So today we're going to be talking to somebody that knows a thing or two about rising from the ashes. Wendy Valentine was once like literally having one of those dark nights of the soul that like puts you crying on your bathroom floor and feels like something you can't recover from. And she was in the middle of this full-blown midlife meltdown, dealing with divorce, illness, debt, unemployment, and the heartbreaking loss of her brother. And then something miraculous happened. We like to talk about miracles on this show. And she had a vision of herself driving across the country in an RV. And instead of dismissing that as crazy, as some of us might, she did it. And here she is, all this many years later, driving her RV into the desert sunset and just rocking her life. She's created this Midlife Makeover Show, one of the top-rated podcasts for women in midlife. And we're going to talk about her new book, Women Waking Up, the Midlife Manifesto for Passion, Purpose, and Play. It really shows women how to transform crisis into clarity using this powerful freedom framework. Can't wait to hear about that. And Wendy, so here's a warm welcome. Thank you for being here today. I'm so glad that you're here.
I love hearing that intro and it's like, wow, did I do all that? It's funny to think back at that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I did do something crazy, like take off in an RV across the country. But, it's interesting. I was thinking about the other day, that whole process from breakdown to breakthrough, taking off across the country in an RV, it was like almost a 2-year process, which actually doesn't seem like it's very long time, but I went all out. And really that's what's in the book. I mean, everything that I did from point A of angst to point B of bliss, that's what's in the book. So it's kind of interesting to think back at that time. That would have been, I'm 53 now. It was 45 when I kind of had my midlife meltdown, like you said. And yeah, kind of rising from the ashes, from the Phoenix ashes, right? But we all have a choice to do that. And I think that's what's so important for all of us to remember, that no matter what we're going through in life, and there's always going to be things that we go through. And that's what's kind of interesting. What I love about midlife in a way is that it's not that maybe you'll go through something when you hit your 40s, 50s, 60s. You definitely will go through something, right? Like whether it's empty nest, your relationships change, your bodies change, hello, menopause. There's career changes. There's all sorts of things going on. And the best way to go through that is to actually go through it, not try to go around it, not try to skip forward or go backwards, just go straight through it. And as a matter of fact, even this last week, my dad passed away a week ago. And then I went through surgery about 4 weeks ago. So point is, there's always stuff you're going to go through. And the more mindful you can be, and the more tools that you can pick up along the way, if you will, to help you get through those tough times, the better off you'll be. You'll get up quicker. You'll get up off that bathroom floor quicker than you did before.
Yeah, gosh. Well, I think that's something we can all relate to. Like, we've all had those total life crash and burn moments, right? Where, a couple, I've had a couple of them, and really had to do that as well. And I think we think, well, nothing's going to change, or we work so hard to get our lives to a certain level. And I think in our 20s, 30s, we spend a lot of time like creating something that maybe that doesn't fit for us anymore when we're 40, 50, 60, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's something we all go through.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, in your 20s and 30s, we're checking off all the boxes, right? Kids, career, marriage, house in the burbs. And then whether you like it or not, you get in your 40s and 50s and life is going to change. Sometimes they're tiny changes and sometimes they're huge changes. But I have found the key is to be more proactive than reactive. It's better to prepare than to try to repair. And the best thing that you can do is to work on yourself, is to take care of yourself. I mean, we talk about self-care all the time, but what is it really? Oh, look at your kitty cat. That's so cute. The kitty cat's like, oh, it's so cold outside. I just want to cuddle. I mean, I'm sure actually your kitty cat is probably one of the tools in your toolbox, right? To help you feel better at tough times, right? Like and sometimes it is the basic things. Sometimes like I feel like nowadays, as we're scrolling on social media or looking on TV, we're looking for that some type of magic pill or something to like, okay, this is going to get me out of this situation. This will make me feel better. Honestly, I have found it's the basics. It's the boring stuff that we just think is like, oh my God, is she really going to say get good sleep and eat good and
meditate, journal,
take a walk in the park? But really it is. It's that basic stuff done consistently and just tapping into yourself and allowing yourself to just feel whatever it is that you're feeling. And as a matter of fact, today, speaking of social media, I had put something on there about, I was dancing and I had this brief moment of joy in the midst of the grief that I'm going through right now. And when my brother passed away 8 years ago, I can remember feeling guilty for feeling happiness. Like, I'm not supposed to be happy when my brother just died. I shouldn't be laughing. I should just be like in my bed, curled up, crying all the time. And I have found that actually, no, like it's allow your emotions to just rise and go with it. If you feel happy one day and sad the next, and sometimes it's even today for me, it was like I woke up angry and now I'm happy. And now like it's just like you just have to allow yourself to go through it and just embrace it. It's life.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time, I think, running away from our feelings and trying to like dodge them, to numb them, to not lean into them. And I think that's what the scrolling and all the, the things that we do
for sure.
All the addictions, little addictions, big addictions that we have are trying to prevent us from feeling all the feels. And, I love to hear you say, like, we got to lean in and actually feel, you got to feel it to heal it. Right.
Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we can be scared to feel those deep emotions. And, if anyone here has gone through like the dark night of the soul, I mean, don't be scared of it. Actually, it's I kind of look at it like a sacred initiation, right? Into a deeper part of yourself and just go with it. And I love the analogy of the butterfly, right? When the butterfly is like, if I had a chrysalis here and you cut the top of the chrysalis off and you take the butterfly out, the butterfly would actually be deformed and it would die. So the butterfly has to struggle. It has to pump the blood through its wings, through its veins. It has to push through that chrysalis in order to fly and be free. It's the same for us. So don't be scared of the struggle. The struggle is real. Yes, it can be really challenging, but just know that you will fly, you will be free, you will show your colors again. Embrace the darkness and also embrace the light as well.
That's beautiful. And I know in your book you have some steps, the freedom steps. Can you talk a little bit about, because I think it's, people hear that and we want to know, how do we do it? Like, what are the actual steps?
I'm so glad you said that, because when I wrote the book, again, it was kind of, I was the guinea pig, right? I was like, okay, what did I do in these last 2 years to actually reinvent myself? And I came up, I love a good acronym, probably because it's just easier to remember. But interestingly, when I sat down to write the book, I was like, okay, what is the one thing I was really after? What did I really want? And I wanted freedom. I wanted freedom from my limiting beliefs, from my self-doubts and the self-sabotage and everything that was weighing me down. And then I thought, well, freedom, that is 7 steps. Everyone loves a good 7-step framework. So as I went back, I was like, okay, this actually is what I did. So freedom, an acronym for free yourself, reset your life, envision a new future, embrace and explore, detach from tomorrow, own your best self, and master yourself. And the thing is that this framework isn't just like a one and done thing. I literally am practicing them every single day, especially as I'm going through this challenge in my life. I'm like, okay, we need to go back to chapter 1. But I did want less fluff and more formula in this book, because I totally agree with you. I feel like I mean, I probably have read every self-help book out there, and they have all helped me in so many ways. But I have found that sometimes it's like, okay, that's great that you did that and you feel this way, but how do I do that? And
Right.
I wanted to provide that in this book. So it is jam-packed full of tools and techniques, every single method that you could possibly imagine. One of the favorite ones that I get feedback on is the superhero quiz. So you get to find out what your superhero is, which is kind of cool. Because here's the thing, by the time we get into our 40s and 50s, we forget about our superpowers, our strengths, what makes us special and unique. And it's a great time to reignite that, because most of us are usually asking that question of, who am I? Now what? Especially after kids have left the nest and things are changing around us and things are changing within us. We have to kind of almost like re-identify with who we are or
Right.
who we want to be, really.
Yeah, we can't really go back to who we were in our 20s and really find the answers there. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes like the seeds are still there, but
Yeah.
I think often like we need like who am I now is sort of the question. Who do I want to be now?
Yeah, yes. I love that you said that, because I feel like, myself included, we would focus more on the what, when, where, and how instead of the who. Like if you start with the who, like who do I want to be? And from that, you can design your entire life just by deciding who you actually want to be. And then sometimes it's not so much in the learning something new, sometimes it's the unlearning. So for
Mm,
example, Michelangelo. I love this analogy of when they asked Michelangelo how he carved the statue of David. He said, "Oh, well, I just carved away at everything that was not him." So
mm.
it's the same with us. After, 4, 5, 6 decades of life, we've there's a lot of marble that we're carrying around. Like it's pretty heavy. It's packed on there. And some of it's stuff that we really don't want. And it's chipping away at those things that are not you. Because deep within that marble is your inner angel, is your authentic self, right? We hear that term thrown
Mhm.
around so much, like be your authentic self. And I can remember thinking, like, I don't know who that is. Like, who is my authentic self? I'd be here if I knew. But it is learning what is not authentic, right? What is not really you. It's chipping away at those things little bit at a time, the relationships that aren't working for you, your thoughts, your beliefs, your behaviors, everything that is not really you, that doesn't feel like it aligns with who you want to be in life, to start chipping away.
Mhm, and I think examining in that is such a good important first step because I think
Mhm.
especially by the time you hit 40, 50, you're, like, loaded down with other people's expectations, other people's desires for you, like, who you had to be just to survive, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's we adopt that, and I think the freedom of midlife and post midlife is being able to let go of some of those old patterns that got sort of, like, melded into your neural net, and
Yeah, yeah, the
seem real.
expectations. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bronnie Ware, I believe is her name, in her book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, the number one regret is living life for everyone else.
Yeah.
And many of us, I think, especially for women too, because we're such amazing caretakers, that we do put ourselves on the back burner,
Yeah.
and we're taking care of everyone else, trying to be the people pleaser and the approval seeker and the perfectionist, and that wears on you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a recovering perfectionist myself, and it's hard to keep up with all that until you realize that you can't be all things to all people, but you can be all things to yourself.
Yeah.
And the happier you can be with yourself, and happier everyone else is, because you are being real and true to yourself.
Right, I think ultimately, like, it doesn't do anyone any favors if you're
Yeah.
not being real, like, we think
Yep.
we're being kind or we think we're being accommodating or caretaking, but I think it doesn't really feel good to be on the receiving end of somebody else not being real, you know? Like
Yeah.
if they're sort of faking it to make you happy, we kind of feel it. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, right? Like, don't we always appreciate, like, and when you're with someone that's totally being real and authentic, it's like, well, wow, she just said it. She just, it's like, wow, okay. But like there's no, you know what you can expect, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no gray. You're like, okay, you're gonna get what you expect.
That's yeah, totally. And I think that's part of being authentic. And you also talk about in your book, like looking at what's draining you or what's,
Yeah.
pulling things out, your energy out is another way to, I think you call it super trainers. Is that right?
Super
Like,
trainers.
let's talk about
Yes,
super
I
trainers.
know. And we're all like, our super drainers are going to be different. What might drain you is going to be different for me. And then there's the super boosters too. Like also knowing what can lift your spirits, what can bring your
Mm,
spirits down. It is really getting to know yourself really, really well. And sometimes, not all the time, you don't have to have some tragic, traumatic experience to like bring you down into that dark night of the soul so that you can get to know yourself. You can do it without that. But get quiet enough. Listen to that inner critic and try your best to turn that critic into a cheerleader, right? Become your own best friend. And I always think of like your thoughts as a ticker tape going across on the news, right? And
mm.
you actually have the power to make that bad news or good news, happy news or sad news. And as you get quieter and you really tap more into yourself and listen to yourself, you'll hear how your news is going. If you're saying good things to yourself, or you're saying bad, are you giving yourself a hard time, like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that, I can't believe I did that, oh, I already gave up on my New Year's resolutions, like, ugh. And just give yourself some grace. You're a human being human, and we're built with all of these emotions, and we're all just trying to figure it out and just do the best that you can, no matter what has been served up on the platter, right?
It's so cool. I
Yeah.
love that. So, and I think for me, like, I know my thoughts have gone down a bad path if I feel bad, and
Yes.
sometimes I don't notice it until I'm like, why am I feeling so bad right now? And then I look at like, well, what am I saying to myself?
Yes.
What have I thinking? What I've been, and so I think it's like for me, like a sort of constant level of self-attunement, like,
Yep.
we're always a little aware of my own inner state, and,
Yes.
um, monitoring that, taking responsibility for that, for
Yeah.
maintaining my own inner state, which is that's what's given me freedom in my life. So I'm not looking
Mhm.
to other people to make me okay, right?
Right. Yes, that external validation or appreciation. Yeah, being able
Yeah.
to almost like coaching yourself through life, right? And like taking responsibility for what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're doing, and everything begins with a thought, right? Your
Mhm.
thoughts become your beliefs, and those beliefs become behaviors. And speaking of New Year's resolutions, like that's the reason why. Let's see, what's today? Well, as the day of recording, January 27th, already 91% of people have given up on New Year's resolutions. And most of it's because they start with the behavior part. They try to change just the physical aspect of what they're doing without changing, like you said, those thoughts
Yeah.
and those beliefs. If you start there, you start with your thoughts, your beliefs, then you move into those behaviors, and then you become that person that you truly want to be. We just kind of
Right.
skip a step. Really critical
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
We have to do it kind of piece by piece, don't we?
yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. I mean, even just like right now, when it popped up on there, the miracle of healing. The miracle is within you. It's not outside of you, right?
Right.
And it is paying attention to those thoughts and those beliefs and your values. I mean, when do we ever ask ourselves, what are my values? I
Mm.
mean, it was 40, I was 45 the first time I ever asked myself that question. I was like, yeah, what are my values? I don't know. I mean, you just have these assumptions of what your values are, but it's like, are those my values, or were those my parents' values, or my friends, or my spouses, or my kids? Like, wait, what are my values? What are my beliefs? And you have to rethink everything. You kind of question, but get curious about yourself and about life. Because there's just not a one way of thinking or believing or being.
That's right. And I think, if you think we're all in this evolutionary process, it's a constant evolution, I think, for me anyway, of like
Yes.
my thoughts, beliefs, feelings, values are evolving. It's not a static one and done thing.
Yes.
It's again, like, what is it now? And it changes, I think, as we like, I'm a recent empty nester too. And, like, okay, now what? Like I'm having to, when we go through those big, like, initiation points in our life or change points in our life, like maybe that's a good time to stop and ask all those questions.
Yeah, exactly. Have those conversations with yourself and giving yourself permission to make those changes in your life. Yeah, because like you said, it's not static. It is dynamic. We are dynamic beings, as we should be evolving through life. I mean, I can remember not too long ago, someone said to me, they're like, "Wendy, you've really changed." I was like, "Well, aren't we supposed to?" Like, are we supposed? And if I see you next year, I will have changed again. Like, it's crazy how that happens. I know.
And I think if we don't, it's like we sort of enter into the zombie side of life, where you have like a zombie marriage or a zombie career, or so it's sort of dead, but it's still walking around like it's alive,
Yes.
And if
I mean,
we
that was
don't,
part of it. That was even one of the reasons why I named the book Women Waking Up, right? It's like, not even so much it's a midlife crisis, it's more like a coma. It's like we have got to wake up, right? Like it's there, you're so much greater than you even allow yourself to be. And that's, I mean, I'm hoping so much that it inspires a woman to just wake up to her greatest potential and know that there's so much more to her and more to life. And life is, I mean, I know I don't need to tell you this and it's so cliche, but life is short. It's so short. I mean, it's like when again, my dad just passed away, but it's like my ex-husband died at 26. My brother died at 49. My dad died at 81. And I think even if we totally rocked our blue zones, if you will, and we lived till 100 years old, 100 years is not very long. And then it kind of makes you wonder why we walk around or sleepwalking through life and stay frozen with our limiting beliefs and our doubts, and we don't make a move. We don't do all the things that we say we want to do or think that we want to do, that we don't allow ourselves to dream or make those dreams come true. Like, this is it. Like, just go for it. Go for it.
So good. Such good advice. And when if people wanted to work with you or get your book or like I know you have a beautiful podcast. How can people like take in more of this incredible wisdom that you're laying out today?
Thank you. So best place is wendyvalentine.com. That's the main hub of everything. My podcast is the Midlife Makeover Show, and that's wherever podcasts are heard. And Women Waking Up is available wherever books are sold. And there are over $500 in bonuses that come with the book. So I feel like it's a book and then some. You get a lot with it. There's meditations and a playbook and a workshop. So it's a lot.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. And I think people need that. Like, if, somebody who's picking up your book might be really glad for all of that sort of other support that you're offering, because I think we need a lot of support as we go through that. I don't know. It's so hard to do it on your own, right?
It is. I know. Yeah. I tried to take the guesswork out of it and just like, here you go. Here, just if you do everything that's in this book, you'll be made. You got it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your beautiful journey with us by writing the book and sharing your story on your podcast. And thanks for being here today with us, having this conversation.
Thank you so much, Lisa. You're awesome.
And if you want to find me, you can find me at lisacampion.com. I work with psychics, healers, and empaths to help them step into their gifts, because I really think the world needs all the healers it can get. And I'm on a mission to build an army of healers to go out there and save the world. And that's kind of what we're doing here on this podcast. So thank you so much for joining us on the Miracle of Healing, where we are healing the planet one person at a time right here on the Empower channel.